Before I introduce the speaker today, a couple of quick announcements. Jenny is still in jail. She has a court appearance on the 12th, so keep her in your prayers. And Karen also got a text message this morning saying that Devlin is in the hospital. He has pneumonia. So, keep her in your prayers. And the person that's going to speak this morning, some of you guys know, a lot of you guys know, he recently baptized over to Coast. Yeah. His name's Michael. He's 27 years old. He is a freelance writer, who recently had his book published. He wanted to speak at Broadway Commons, and I didn't want to give them the pleasure of his presence, so I had to do it here. I just anyways. Yeah. So, I'm going to hang out up here with him for a minute, and we're going to let him talk. Good, he's nervous, so heckle him if you can.
Yeah, because that's going to help.
I was talking good about him before he got published.
Don't heckle him.
Liar. No. How's everybody doing today?
Doesn't haters. Doesn't haters.
Now, God's been wanting me to talk in front of a group and tell my life story and basically preach a little bit for a while now. I've been putting it on the back burner because of a lot of, self-doubt, but I'm here today.
Yeah. Which critics?
Amen to that. Now, like Tom said, I recently had my book published, which I never thought. I tried and I'll try again to get it published through a lot of people, and it was just going to cost me way too much money I didn't even have. And one day, my friend showed me the Amazon, and Amazon asked for some of my writing stuff and agreed to publish a book. And my book comes out actually officially the end of next month.
Yeah.
Which, as a big, huge thing, my book, I put it on the website that it's on, that 50% of it is going into a fund where I'm going to, I basically have had a business plan for a while to do a separate cafe, but it's been pressed on me a lot when I've had my conversations with God to get back to the homeless community that helped me out a lot when I was homeless for the 3 to 4 months, which is you guys, and I love you guys. And so 50% of my profits is going into a fund where I'm going to be using it to start that up. And what it's going to be is basically a lot of the food I'll make there, and me and Jeff and a couple other people have already agreed to go into business together and do it, and we're basically going to provide food for you guys and a place for you guys to hang out during the day when you guys, the homeless don't have anywhere else to go, and it's going to have computers, it's going to have video games for those of you that play video games. I mean, how many of us do, I mean. It's also going to have a store where basically I'm going to allow my Amazon Prime account, and I've already talked to Amazon, and they're willing to help me out with this. And you guys can pretty much order anything you need on Amazon: food, clothes, books, and you get basically a percentage off everything because it's going to be through me.
Video games?
Video games. Well, anything Amazon sells, so knives,
That's a two-way street.
should you probably buy fertilizer? I mean, I don't know why you would want to buy fertilizer, but that was. But that's something that I'm really working with. I talked to a realtor that's a friend of mine the other day, and I'm looking at places, and hopefully we can start that up in the next couple months. It's just God's been really good to me the last couple of months. It's helped me out a lot. And look, my book got published. I'm off the streets. I could prefer a better roommate, but baby steps.
Be careful we're basically good and bad all at the same time.
Yeah. No, I love him. I mean, he was supposed to be here, but was sick, so.
I had an awesome.
No, I love the family that I'm now with, and I actually consider a lot of them my extended family. Like I consider all of you. I mean, I'm still at the feeds and everything every day just to say hi. I mean, that's not because I'm trying to stay in the system. To now, I'm wanting to be by my family, which is you guys. You guys have been the most supportive to me and helped me out through a whole lot, and I appreciate that.
We appreciate you.
That's a two-way street.
Michael
Yes.
is one of the people that got baptized, as I said.
Yeah.
And he's literally walking, talking proof that God's making a difference, right?
Yeah.
And the young people too.
Yeah.
And the young people.
Oh, trust me, I mean,
Coming, yeah.
It's fun to watch, right?
Yes.
And it's exciting to be a
That
part
makes
of
me.
it.
I basically, just starting my story out, I was raised in Arizona by my grandparents from 3 months old to 6 because of the fact that when I was 3 months old, my dad got drunk and pulled a gun and tried to kill him. I tried to kill my mom. And my mom just took me. We lived with my mom, my grandparents, God bless them, and God rest their souls, and hopefully they're listening to this today.
They
I
are.
didn't know Joe. Yeah.
No, my grandma was a big supporter of my life. She was the biggest one that told me to go through school and kept me, just kept my head on straight. And I miss her. She died last December, which is part of the reason why I came home. Was I went through a whole bunch of depression and all that, and felt like part of me felt like God took the one rock away from me that I had, because she was always there. She never turned it back on me like the rest of my family did. I mean, before last year, I've only been out of a youth group home boys home for disgruntled youth for about 2 years, and my grandma was my biggest support there. She came to everything she could, even though she lived out of state. She'd fly down here 3-4 times a year. They'll listen to me speak. She missed my graduation by a day. That was a miscommunication.
We do things like that.
No, my mom's also been a big support for me, and she was, she's trying her best to be the rock that my grandma was. It's just kind of hard considering, there's a lot of, sadly, a lot of pain there between me and my mom, because even though my grandparents raised me until I was 6, my mom married my stepdad, and my stepdad was very abusive to me, slapped me around, beat the crap out of me on a daily basis just because I was breathing. I mean, he didn't like me. And then when his kid was born, it got worse, and I felt so alone. I felt like, that God had left me again. I mean, I was still the person that went to church every day as a Catholic. Praying every day, asking for it to get better, and the next day it would just get worse because I had a black eye or a bruised rib. I constantly go to school with things, and my teachers would, question what was going on. I got taken out of the house my first time when I was 12 and put in with another family. And the state learned pretty quick that they couldn't keep me from my mom.
Amen.
That's beautiful.
Because the one thing that, it was sad, but I learned at a very young age that if I wasn't in the house, if I wasn't the one taking the pain,
Oh, yeah.
the abuse, my mom did it. And once that happened, first time I saw my mom
Prick me, I know this.
in the hospital, I knew I couldn't leave the house. I knew I had to stay. I knew I had to put myself as a shield between her and my stepdad. And my brother had kidney problems, and when he was 2, had E. coli. and nearly died from that. We almost lost him. He had a stroke and literally shut down. I mean, my first 6-7 years of my life, I was the only child. I mean, my cousins weren't even born yet. They weren't born until I was 8, so I was the only child. My aunt. So I went from being the one that was showered with gifts and whatever you wanted and babied and treated like an only child, and then all of a sudden this little
Fart.
little poop machine is what I called him when I was a kid, 'cause it seemed he always needed his diaper changed. or throwing up. But, you know, there was part of me that's fighting my brother because he was born, because my mom lost her focus in me and focused on him. So, the one person I always lived with that I actually knew loved me and all that started focusing on the little one. So, you know, biggest thing, it was like, Mom, I felt betrayed because I'm standing in a house with my mom to keep her safe, and yet she's focusing on something completely different than the one person that's taking all the crap for her.
Right.
And I used to pray a lot that God would take them away, you know, take them back. I didn't want them. And then just seeing them there in the bed, in the hospital bed with all the machines attached, I realized that, you know, part of me still loved them. I actually did care. I wanted them to live. Because even though he was little, he didn't understand the world like I did. And it's sad I had to understand the world the way I did at such a young age. I wanted him to experience a life that I did. I wanted him to, I understood he was going to have things that I probably wouldn't because he had both his parents around. I knew he only had my mom. My dad was some deadbeat getting drunk somewhere while I was sitting here, and I mean, even the state tried to get a hold of him and see if I could come live with him, and he wouldn't respond back. And then when we found out that he could get a kidney transplant, we tried finding multiple people. So far, no one could donate. I remember walking up to my mom going, I'll give him a kidney. I'll lose one. I'm a match. The doctor just looked at me and smiled, and he's like, you're too young to donate. I mean, yeah, we couldn't even take it from you. And, you know, part of me hated myself for that because I felt like I was a failure to protect my brother. But my mom ended up being a match. And so he got a donation from her.
Oh, that's good.
I wasn't there to see the whole surgery and all that because I thought it would be too disgrunting for me. So I lived with my grandparents, and you know, it was hard for me not being near my mom. It was hard for me not being near my brother. But I was raised in a family that I actually got food. I actually got clothes that I actually could fit. I actually got taken care of like kids should. And yes, the year I was there, I had a lot of friends, and it was hard for me to leave. Not only for the fact of, you know, that sense of security and having a good home, it was the fact of losing my friends. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Once I get attached to people, it's hard for me to leave. You guys can see that. 'Cause I mean, I still come out even though I'm not homeless anymore, and I'll go fit in the rain with you guys. So once I'm attached, and I consider you family, your family. It's hard for you people that I declared as my family to lose my respect and my love. I mean, it's really hard. I mean, I still love my stepdad, and look what he did to me on a daily basis. I pray for them every day. It's just once I started becoming, once I got into a teenager, I started having issues. And it's where I really started stealing. But I mean, mainly I was stealing food, and that was for various reasons. Because food was considered a reward for me at my house. If I did good, I got food. If I didn't, I didn't. And so I would steal food and literally have the cops called on me. And I'd go to juvie for stealing food for 3 days. No, out of stores, like Walmart every day. Well, even out of my own house, I'd take an orange out of my fridge. And if my stepdad hadn't given me permission, the cops were at the house. And I was going out in handcuffs. And basically, I spent 3 days before Christmas one time in jail because my stepdad refused to let me out. He's like, I didn't want to. I was actually supposed to spend 2 days in jail, and it ended up being 5. My stepdad would come get me. And that's what kind of when I realized that, I started having, during this whole thing, I always felt that God wasn't there. But I realized now, during everything, that God was there with me. He always walked at my side. When I needed him the most, he was always there. It's just I never realized the voice in my back of the head was God talking to me. It's just, I thought it was, a engineer friend, somebody I made to deal with the pain. But no, it was him. It was God taking me under his wing. And holding me close, even though I didn't remember that. And once I was 16, I got put in the boys' home I was in, and for a mistake I made, and I'm still paying for it this day, and I'll pay for it for probably the rest of my life. But that's why I'm doing this, and this is why I'm standing here today, is to show that God has helped me, because the mistake I made, I was looking at 18 years of my life in jail. I made a big enough mistake where I was going to ruin the rest of my life. Well, not the rest. But a good chunk of my life, from 16 to, 18 years later, I would have been 34. But I mean, the fact that I started going back to church, I started praying, I called to God, I was like, hey, I know I haven't really been the best person following all the commandments. I mean, I've gotten into fights, I've even used your name in vain almost on a daily basis, but if you're here, just help me out with this. I don't want to be taken away from my mom for that long. I don't want to lose what I have going for me for that long. And then my mother came with me a few days later and offered the boys' home I was going to put in, and it was only going to be 8 years of my life. And, I thought, at first I said, no, I want to fight it, because I still didn't believe I should be punished. I mean, what I did wasn't as bad as the 11 years of my life living with my stepdad and my mom were. I mean, my stepdad would get slapped on the wrist, and here I was for beating the crap out of a kid and starving him. He would get a slap out of the wrist, maybe 3 days in jail and anger management, and then, okay, go back. Me, I'm my first crime, first legit crime. And I'm looking 18 years of my life. No, kind of why I have issues with law enforcement now. and the court system. I knew that the best option was for me to go to the boys' home. I went to it. And I literally came out as being fight at the boys' home and dealing with the fact of what my charges were. And all that was worse enough. The criticism, the ridicule, the black, the bad names I was called, names that the reason it hurt the most is actually I felt like that myself. Every word they said, I actually felt like it was true. Like I really was that person they were saying. I mean, I wasn't. I'm not. I mean, I'm here today, I'm not half of what they said I would be. But once I came out as that, a lot of people started, I came on first, a lot more. And a lot of the friends I did have, a lot of them also turned their back on me, which hurt. Because I mean, when you're in a situation where there's people, even staff turn their back on you. And when you're in a situation where you have to rely on the staff and other youth just to, survive, it's heartbreaking when they turn and don't look at you and consider you a curse or disease. And it was just really hard for me dealing with that. But I started going to church again, and a lot of my the pastor there, Pastor John, he actually helped me out a lot. He helped me realize that there was a good part of this, that it was just to make me stronger. And that God was still here for me, and still cared for me as a son, even though I was in this. That all I had to do was lean on Him, and once I realized that, it was a lot easier to get through it. And then in 2017, April of 2017, I was released. Which, I mean, I started doing a lot of crap in the months before I was released from the boys' home, because being locked up, being in an area where you couldn't leave for 8 years, you get used to that.
Yes, sir.
Especially coming out as a 25-year-old. When you're 16, when you're locked up, coming in 5, and being an adult, and not having the experiences you needed, the training, everything else, it was hard for me. And I tried my hardest to make it where I could stay. And the leader of my unit came to me and he's like, I understand you feel scared, but people, you need this. This is the next step of your life. You can use this to fix everything you've done. And you can use this experience to help other people. And when I realized that I could do it to help other people and prevent it, is when I got a little bit of my strength back and I got released. I've been doing good since. I mean, it's been hard for me getting a job. I've done on-end jobs. Like I said, I've been a freelancer. I've done landscaping. I've cleaned people's houses. I've done the low-end jobs. I've gotten paid under the table, and it's basically just getting paid food. But God's always been there, and He's always had a plan for me. And I never realized that everything was being provided for me by Him. I always thought it was something that I was struggling for, that I had to fight for. And then once recently, I've always believed that I had to be the person to fight. That I couldn't just give it up to somebody and let somebody else control my life. That I had to control it. I had to do what I needed to do to survive. And once I became, once my grandma passed away, I realized that my life was a little bit more hectic. My life was literally taken from me, and I didn't know where to go. The one time that I've always felt like, no matter how well I screwed up, taking control of my life and screwing me up, I always had my grandma there to kind of, hey, come on, keep walking, Don't give up. I lost count of how many times I tried putting myself in the hospital because I didn't want to fight, but my grandma was always there. And I went through a spiral of depression, which I lost my housing, I lost the job I had that was actually paying well. And well, you guys know what pretty much happened from there is I met a lot of you. And even then, I was dealing with a lot because my life got worse because not only was I trying to do my best, but everything that I did in my life was being done to me. For the first time, I felt what I did to other people. And that kind of made an eye-opener, so I started coming here to church, talking to Tom, talking to Dale, and started praying a lot, and God gave me guidance, and I took a bunch of classes and got registered as a minister, and now I'm going back into my writing. I got my book published. I'm standing here today talking to you guys as a baptized Christian. And now, basically, as I've already said, I'm just doing it, my life, the way Jesus would want me to, what the way it says in the Bible, walking in the steps of Jesus. I'm changing my life from a person that demanded everything and respect to himself and only doing things for himself to doing it, like I said, I was going to do with the business, which is, yes, I mean, it's going to give me money in my pocket a little bit more, so I'm a little less hand to mouth, but I'm not doing it for the tax write-offs. I'm doing it to help you guys, because you guys showed me that there's people that are actually out there that actually care, and that I can actually have a family, and that's what I've always ever wanted, so thank you guys. That's why I'm standing here today.
We didn't know the
Is that awesome or what?
we didn't know the circumstances of why you got the charge.
What?
Huh?
We didn't know circumstances. There's
Some
always
of you don't, it's,
I don't even know you, bro. I know you got You know we're listening. You gotta
You serve an awesome God. Hallelujah.
What's the name of your book?
King's Fall.
What's that?
King's Fall.
King's Fall.
but I'm like, no, so we didn't start.